All right, guys, like I said, we're going through the PowerPoints. You need to make sure you go through the PowerPoints on Schoology. I'm just hitting the high points. The vocabulary is very, very important because getting into the financial sector, this is stuff we haven't really done. I'm not going to waste time in class talking about vocabulary because I know you can read and study it, that kind of thing. All right, but we need to talk about interest rates and inflation. One big thing you need to know, how to calculate interest rates. In fact, on that assessment, there were some questions dealing with interest rates. Okay, real interest rates, remember, when anything is real, we have to adjust it for inflation. Okay, so if we're calculating the real interest rates, we have to take out the inflation. So the formula for that, and you need to, it's good to make a list of formulas because, you'll need to know those going into the AP exam. But real interest rates is the nominal interest rate minus the expected inflation rate. Okay. In fact, what they'll do is they'll ask a question about the nominal interest rate being, say, 9%. Okay. And the bank expects a real return on interest of 2%. Okay. What is the inflation rate? All right. So you just set up an algebraic equation and solve for x, right? Okay. So if you know that real interest rate equals nominal interest rate minus expected inflation. Okay. Now what happens if expected inflation is higher than the nominal interest rate? Then the banks aren't making any money. Okay. So if expected inflation is higher than the nominal interest rate, that tells us that interest rates are about to go up. Okay? Then a nominal interest rate, that's a percentage increase in the money that the borrower pays. Okay? It's not adjusted for inflation. Nominal equals real interest rate plus expected inflation rate. So I've seen a question where they say, hey, the expected inflation rate is 7%. If the bank wants to make a 2% return on investment, how much should the bank charge Mario if he borrows money? Okay? And so basically you just add those together and they should get 9%. Okay? Sorry, I just looked up and there you were. Okay. All right, does everybody understand how this works? The key is knowing the vocabulary. You should at this point already know what real versus nominal. We did a lot with GDP with that, right? Okay, but real and nominal interest rates, it works the same way. You just got a little different formula. However, they're super simple, right? Super simple. You just subtract or you add. It's not hard. You just have to make sure that you're paying attention to it. And again, some of these PowerPoints, I know you may be put off by, wow, that one's got 50 slides. Okay, about 25 of those slides are practice questions. Okay, I'm really stacking them with practice questions for you so we can get ready for that AP exam. Okay, all right, any questions? And see here, if nominal interest rate is 10%, the inflation rate is 15%. How much is the real interest rate? Well, that's a negative 5%, right? Right. Okay. So that's a bad situation. Okay. All right. Everybody good here? Everybody ready to move on?
Oh, my computer just booted up.
Way to boot it. Okay. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee now.
Nice. What kind?
Colombian.
This one's community. Unfortunately, I missed out on the home roasted Brazilian coffee that was offered for teacher appreciation.
Oh yeah, it is this week, isn't it?
It is.
This lady called up to Dunkin' last night and she was trying to get a quote on. We sell box of Joe, which is a box of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to get a quote on how many she would need to give to 150 people for teacher appreciation. And she's like, "Do y'all do discounts because it's teacher appreciation?" I'm like, I don't know.
Well, that may very well be later in the week. We're supposed to have a caffeine cart come around. So, all right, we good now?
Oh, I'm getting the formulas now.
Okay.
So y'all might be getting Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Yeah, Dunkin' coffee's pretty good.
Well, they say one box does 20 people, so it's maybe enough.
It's you get 10 small cups with one box, but unless they
I thought we
can
did
do for more than 10. team. But they're small.
Good?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so this is just showing the difference. Yay, lovely. Okay. And there's a fill in the blank. Nominal interest rate, the inflation rate. What should the real interest rate be there? It's going to be 2. Yay. Oops, I filled them all in. But basically, this is just doing the same kind of thing. You just set up a simple equation and knock them out. Okay. Not hard. So, yeah. Time value money. This one can get a little iffy. I figure time value money, there may be 1, maybe 2 questions, maybe. Some years we don't even see this on the macro test. Says, would you rather have $100 today or $200 in 5 years from now? Okay, what do we need to know to make that decision? Well, what do we need to know? We need to basically know what the interest rate is and what the number of years are. Okay, so basically, here's the equation to calculate the future value. How much money, okay, then you take 1 plus the interest rate and then multiply it by the number of years.
Mr. Gardner, I hate to bother you again, but can I see Dakota?
She's taking the calculus exam, the AP calculus exam.
Then I will not interrupt her in there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so if the interest rate is 10%, then the future value of $100 is $110. Okay? Okay, so that's in year 1, right? What's the present value of $100 in 1 year if the interest rate is 10%?
Is that rhetorical?
It's the same answer. I mean, I already worked it for you. Okay? So here's where we're just predicting the value. And they use all this, like when they're calculating mortgages and things like that, they use all of these to calculate what interest rate they should get. Because, you know, we have the expected inflation rate for a year, but how do you do that for 30 years, right? On a mortgage. Or maybe 7 years on a car loan. So they use these kind of tools to help calculate that. All right? Everybody understand? Questions, concerns, fears? Good to go? Everybody good? All right, present value is current worth. The present value is basically amount of money in year 1. You just divide it, okay? So you have to subtract the interest, okay? If that expected interest is going to occur in that year, right? So the actual value is a little bit less, or you divide it, you don't subtract it, okay? Like I said, you need to be familiar with this, but don't stress about the time value of money, okay? Interest rate is 10%. The present value is $90.91, okay? So that means the future value of $90.91 when the interest rate is 10% is $100, okay?
Hey, I just wanted to say they're doing a form that you have to complete to pick up caps and gowns. Make
Okay.
sure you do it.
Oh, we're gonna grab that.
No, you have to do a form before you get the caps and gowns.
Yeah, I'm sure it's online this year. I'm sure it's a Google Doc or something.
I just wanted to let everyone know.
Yeah. Yeah, so make sure you do your Schoology form for the cap and gown so that you can get it.
Schoology for me.
It's on Remind.
Oh, sorry. Remind, I lied.
Right, because
That's on
has
Schoology.
Remind, is it now?
Oh, hey, Miss Stafford.
Can I see Carlos real quick?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, I have not called your room so much, and it's 3 times in a row. It's like, I am not calling down there again.
There you go. Yeah, and over half of them are taking the calculus test, so and I don't think they put in the excuse absences in Power School.
No, it's not in.
Yeah,
And I
so.
tried to ask you that yesterday.
Next person everybody's call is just good.
I got a 0 yesterday because I wasn't here.
In what?
Miss Baxter's class. She doesn't like me.
I'll send her an email.
Really?
I'll
'Cause there was like a whole test I never took from her. She just gave me.
I've never taken a test.
okay.
No,
I'll
no turn and stuff.
I'll send an email to take care of that for you. Okay.
Literally genetics.
All right. So again, time value
That's not
money.
healthy.
Just make sure you look over this. You're familiar with it. Okay. Again, they haven't put a lot of emphasis on this in the past. Okay. Just be familiar with it. All right. So let's talk about money. Money kind of can be confusing to some people. Okay, what if we have? Yeah, the barter system. We got all this. Yay, good. Okay. Money is anything generally accepted as payment for goods and services. Okay, it has to be generally accepted. Okay, like in some nations, they won't. If things go bad, people won't accept that nation's currency because it's devalued or whatever. Okay, and so then it no longer acts as money, and then people use it to start fires or wallpaper or toilet paper, whatever. Okay, because sometimes money in nations doesn't have worth. Like remember that picture of the kid from Zimbabwe with the big stacks of money. Okay, money is not the same as wealth or income. That is something important to know. Okay, wealth is the total collection of assets. Income is the flow of earnings per unit of time. Okay, now there's different types of money. We have commodity money. Then we have fiat money. Okay, commodity money, that's something that performs the function of money, but it has an intrinsic value. Okay, gold, silver, cigarettes if you're in prison, cans of tuna if you're in prison, something like that. It is an actual commodity. During the I want to say it was like during the plague, they used squirrel pelts over in Russia. I mean, there was all sorts of stuff that could be that. Now, you got fiat money. That's something that serves as money but has no other value or uses. Paper money, coins, digital currency. Okay, our money is fiat money. That paper has no value, does it? Other than somebody will accept it as a medium of exchange. Can I hammer that paper out into something shiny to give to my wife as a gift? I can trade that for something shiny to give to my wife, can't I? But I can't make that into something, okay? And somebody's thinking, well, I can origami that dollar and make a little swan or whatever. No, doesn't count. Okay?
Doesn't a $100 bill have like some sort, like something in it?
Yeah, the $50 and the $100 bill have Teflon strips in it. And,
What's
yeah.
Teflon?
Basically it's a polymer or plastic thing so that they can determine if it's real or counterfeit.
This is crazy.
All right, everybody understand 2 types of money? Ready? 2 types. What are they? Commodity and fiat. Fiat, not just a crappy Italian car. Okay? Now, so fiat money, that's what we have. Our money has value. In fact, it has value if you have $1. I might. In fact, you know what I've got? I've got $23.
Can I have one?
It's yours.
I have $24 too.
Okay, if you look at this, okay, it says Federal Reserve note. It also says this is legal tender for all debts, public and private, right there. So it only has value because the government says it does. That's it. Other than that, I mean, I could light a fire with it. But I won't because I'm cheap. Okay, so those are the types of money, and you need to know that because they may ask you something about a commodity money versus a fiat money, that kind of thing. Okay, now more importantly than this is the 3 functions of money. These are so important. You've got to know these. Okay, 1, a medium of exchange. Money can be easily used to buy goods and services. No complications. The barter system, which existed forever, there's complications. Okay, if Kamaya had a chicken to trade and she really, really wanted some fresh fruit, okay, she has to find somebody with fresh fruit that actually wants a chicken, right? But she might find, let's say that Lauren has fresh fruit, but she wants some bacon, okay? So now Kamaya's got to trade the chicken to James for a pig Okay? Then she's got to take the pig to Elizabeth for processing. Elizabeth gets to keep part of the pig. For that, you get the bacon, and then you finally get the fresh fruit. But guess what? The fruit's not fresh anymore because it's been a while. Okay? See the problems of the barter system? Instead, it's much easier just to do this.
Remind me of the 1,000.
All right?
About the story how about a person like traded like she's a paperclip.
Oh, yeah. And got a house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unit of account. Okay, this is a measure of value. We measure the value of things in terms of these, don't we?
Sure.
We even measure our time in terms of these, don't we? How many of you have a job?
Oh.
Okay, and you calculate how many hours you got to work to earn so much of these. Okay? So, measure value. Measures the value of all goods and services. Money acts as a measurement of value. Okay, 1 goat equals $50, equals 55 chickens, or 1 chicken equals $10. Okay? It's also a store of value. Money allows you to store purchasing power for the future. This isn't like Lauren's fruit that expires or rots, right? Money, it'll just sit there. Now, maybe don't leave it out in the sun so much, but, I can just set it on my desk and it'll be there in 10 years, won't it?
No.
My money don't melt.
No, I'm pretty sure somebody be like,
Woohoo, free
What
money.
about water? What about water?
water expires too. Gets moldy, algae stuff growing in it.
Wait.
Hey.
So I heard like money are like tied to in terms of gold and silver. Is that true?
No.
No?
Fiat, like we have fiat money. If it's tied to gold or silver, it's considered commodity money because there was a time in our country I could take my dollar and trade it in for some gold dust. But we're not backed by gold. Now, our government still retains billions of dollars of gold, but it does not back our currency up.
Wait, so who determines how much valuable monies are? Like inflation, deflation?
Interest rates. The Federal Reserve is the one that creates currency. Well, they order currency printed, but they can create money by manipulating interest rates and things. And we're going to talk about that. That's monetary policy. So, and now with digital, I mean, some of us don't even use cash that much, right? Just with our credit cards or our debit cards and stuff, so the money supply is much larger. Okay? Right? Everybody good here? These are important, these 3 things. We good? You all right over there?
Yeah.
With you two, I worry.
Wait, so I have a question. So I have like this $5 bill like from like 30 years ago. So is there like no
$5?
like still $5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now you can use it now if it's some collector says, "Ooh, cool," and they give you $6 for it, take it. But generally, because the thing is, that older currency, it cycles out of circulation, like when they redesign it and that kind of thing. So every now and again, an odd. I remember when I was working in retail, every now and again an odd bill would come in that was like the old style 20 or something like that.
It has an odd odd design.
Yeah, well, it looks like a 1. The 1 still has the same design, just the numbers are a little bigger on it.
So why are misprints money like worth more?
Because they're supposed to be destroyed. They shouldn't exist. All right, so here's weird money. There's a 12-foot wide money. Also, one of the things money should be is portable. That ain't portable. All right, these are just questions. We're not going to take time because you have all these in your PowerPoint on Schoology. All right, so what backs it up? Well, there's nothing. Basically, it's our collective faith in the government. Faith in the government.
Yay! I mean, we've been doing this for like what 200 years.
We have, Bitcoin's real popular right now. I don't know.
I still don't know what that is. I'm
so-
like,
Me neither.
It takes too long to explain it right
All
now,
I know is
but
I passed by a vape store.
All I
and
know
they
is,
said-
in the future when it adjusts, it may be time to invest. But remember, don't buy things when they are at record high. Okay? All right, so what makes money effective? Now, these are the effectiveness of money. That's different than functions of money. One, it's generally accepted. If people will take it, then that's fine. You get in trouble if you travel internationally. Sometimes, like if you don't have change to the local currency, they may take your U.S. dollar, but they're going to charge you more because they have to take some steps to convert it into their money, right? Because it's not as generally accepted. Like if you go to Europe, yeah, they'll take your dollars, but they may charge you euro prices for them. Yeah,
Do you know the address of the Walgreens on Bullfrog Corner?
I don't.
Bullfrog Corner Walgreens.
Generally, it's 50.
It's not actually called Bullfrog Corner, that's why.
Well, it's Goodman. It's going to be either Goodman Road or Highway 51, one of the two.
Carter, so you know how in European country they have their own money, like currency?
Most of them don't.
Oh, they don't?
It's
So
a
they
euro.
just use the
euro.
European?
Yeah, they use a euro. Most of them do. Not England. Okay. All right. Also, money has to be scarce. It cannot be easily reproduced. Why not?
So that's money's good.
I don't know.
Well, why would it be bad if I could just say, "Dang, I'm out of money," and make some copies? Remember Daryl Wimpy Kid, the Mom Bucks or whatever that was that Roderick was making copies of? Okay. They weren't as valuable, right? Think law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, the more of something, the less value it has, right? So if people could easily reproduce it, then it's not going to be generally accepted because the value of it's not going to hold value. Third thing, it's got to be pourable and divisible. Money's got to be easily transported and divided. That's why that big rock thing is not good money. Okay, it might be very stable money, but if you need a wagon and 4 oxen to haul it to the market, that's a problem. Okay. Also, why can't we deal in, why can't eggs be money?
They spoil.
Yeah, it's not they spoil, but also are they divisible?
Yes.
Are they?
Yeah, you can't divide an
One
egg.
I mean,
no.
Yeah, you're not going
cook
to
it,
split
yes.
an egg, no. So, anyway.
if you cook it, yeah.
Also, the purchasing power of money is the amount of goods and services a unit of money can buy. Okay? Inflation decreases purchasing power. Deflation increases purchasing power. Hyperinflation decreases acceptability. And hyperinflation, that's what happened in Zimbabwe. That happened in Brazil back in the late 90s. Argentina had a period of it at one point. But it decreases acceptability because hyperinflation, the value of that money is decreasing so rapidly, people are unwilling to take a risk and accept that money. Okay? Any questions there? Everybody feeling warm and fuzzy about it? Y'all all right back there? Everybody good?
No.
Didn't realize that.
Okay. Are you good with this?
Sure.
Okay. All right. We can deal with good generally later, but right now I'm worried about this. All right. All right. So classifying money. Let me get the classifications up here. All right. We classify money based on its liquidity. Okay.
That's correct.
That means how quickly an asset can be assessed and used as a medium of exchange. Okay? M1 has the highest liquidity. Now, you've got to know the M's. Okay? They will ask you M questions. All right? M1. This is the currency in circulation plus checkable bank deposits. That's checking accounts and also traveler's checks. I don't know why they still put traveler's checks in the thing, because I don't know when the last time I saw a traveler's check, and you probably have no idea what a traveler's check is. Back before, when everybody used credit cards for everything and debit cards, if you were going on a trip, if you didn't want to carry cash, because that's risky, you would go to American Express and get these traveler's checks. They were generally accepted most places. Some places didn't because there was a little bit of a fee structure on there. But essentially, you would buy these traveler's checks in denominations of $50, $100, $500, something like that. And if you needed to get cash or to pay for something, you just wrote an American Express traveler's check out. I have no idea if these are even in use or available anymore. The only time I used them was when I went to Europe. And that was a hassle. So, anyway, traveler's checks. But again, it's money that's readily acceptable, right? That's what that is. Checkable bank deposits, that's your debit card, okay? Your debit card is readily available, readily accepted, right? Okay? Except at the snack cart, you better have cash for that, okay? Currency in circulation, that's easy enough. Okay, then that's the highest liquidity because it's literally, they're going to take your money. M2 is near money. M2 is M1 plus these things, savings deposits. Say, like some of y'all probably have a savings account and a checking account or a debit account. Sometimes they just call it debit accounts now. Okay. Well, that savings account, you can't just get that money, right? You can't just use your savings account to pay for something. You have to take some action, don't you? Now, for me, it's easy enough. Now, I just pull out my phone, I go bloop, bloop, and move that money over, right? But not all banks do that. You may have to actually go into the bank and fill out the little form and get them to move money into your checking account or give you cash, right? So it's not as liquid. Also, time deposits. Also, a money market account. It's a kind of account, kind of a savings account, but they allow you to write checks. But they limit how many checks you can write, and also they put a minimum amount of the check you can write. Like I know, I think my mom's money market account, she can withdraw like 2 or 3 times a year, or no, once a quarter, and she can't withdraw less than $500. Okay, and basically those pay a little bit higher interest because there's going to be less transactions. That's why. Okay, time deposits. That's CDs, certificates of deposit, also known as certificates of depression. They pay a little bit higher. They pay a little bit higher interest rate because basically you sign with this certificate. It says I'm going to put this $1,000 in the bank, and I'm not going to touch it for however long. A lot of people do, 1 to 2 years on a CD, and that guarantees that the bank's going to have access to that money for that time period. So they pay you a little bit more interest, but that interest doesn't even match inflation. That's why we call it certificates of depression sometimes. Also, you got money market funds, okay? Money market funds, those are investments, but again, you can write a check, but you have to take an action against it. Also, a money market check, you're not going to write that at Kroger, okay? You're going to have to go to the bank and get them to cash that out, okay? So it's harder. It's not as liquid. M1 and M2 often earn little to no interest, so the opportunity of cost of holding liquid money is the interest you could be earning, okay? There is opportunity cost for holding money, okay? If you're holding cash or in one of these situations, the opportunity cost is interest that you could be earning, okay? So M1 and M2, a lot of times we just call this the money supply, okay? Now there's additional assets. There's an M3 that's these longer, harder to get to things, but AP Macro doesn't really get into that. If you go into a more advanced economics class, it pulls in real estate and all those kinds of things. Because real estate is an asset, but it's one of the least liquid assets possible. Real estate is not a medium of exchange unless there's some kind of weird barter system going on, right? Because, you got to go through the process. You got to sell the property. You got to get the forms filled out. You got to get the appraisals and all that kind of stuff, okay? While it is an asset, it takes a while to get to that money, right? However, real estate is a great store of value, and it pays really, really well, particularly right now with the way the market's going. Not going to be that good in a year, but right now it's good. Okay, questions, concerns? Okay, again, there's additional questions. Just make sure you go through those. All right, any questions on this PowerPoint? Now, just hit the high points of that first PowerPoint. Right now, we're going to go into the second one, the one that was assigned for today. Okay.